YouTube, how we doing? PPS here. We are back past the prop bet, ready to get you started on this betting weekend here. We got the divisional playoffs starting tomorrow, running through Sunday. Joined as always by my guy Stu. How you doing, man?
Doing good. We're almost here. We've been waiting. Obviously, this time of year is one of the best times of year if you're a football fan because we got the best games possible, right? And I mean, you guys already know I'm a little bit biased. Got my Commanders going through, so the energy levels are even higher over here for me. But hey, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for these games to start so we can stop talking about them and start making a little bit of money on them. But until then, we're going to go through our picks today. If you got any questions, make sure to drop in the comments. We know we're here early. That's my bad. Had to get out of here, get out of town. So if you do have questions and you're not live with us, still drop them in the comments below. We will be here until kickoff, so get those in there whether you're live or watching later.
Yes, sir. Just want before we get into anything with the bets, want to take a look at any of this line movement, right? We obviously broke down the games Wednesday, talked about everything there. Kind of want to talk some of this line movement. I'm seeing the Commanders down to 8.5 now. We're seeing that move across the board. A lot of nines. And I saw DraftKings just moved it to 8.5. So again, I said that on here. I was surprised it didn't move because I know pretty much everybody's betting them. I don't think I've really seen anybody betting the Lions outside of like a total. But yeah, so just something else. I mean, if you're going to bet the Commanders, I think you kind of missed your boat already. I think you kind of missed that because I think, again, it's going to be the more public side. Any thoughts on that, Sue? I feel like we talked about that being a little bit of a big number anyway. But you got to remember, this is kind of the way I think about it in basketball too, is like, when the game plays higher possession, when the total plays higher, these bigger numbers are kind of, like if we're in the Bills or not in the Bills, that's a bad example. But if we were in like the Houston KC game, right, where it's a 41.5 total, if it's like a 41.5 total in that game, it'd be like more like a -6, because there's a lot less points scored and there's a lot less possessions because they're not moving as fast. We're not as explosive. But in a game like this, there could be 14 points scored in a matter of a minute and a half. So that's why this number still kind of scares me a little bit for everybody else wanting to bet on it and seeing something that maybe I'm not.
Yeah, well, I will say if you go over and look at Pickett right now, the splits like 94% Lions, only 6% Washington. So we have been talking about a lot of people on Washington, but I will say when you go to some of these splits apps, people are hammering the other side. I don't know if there's actually as much money coming down on the Commanders as we thought. For me personally, my local book put 10 yesterday, -120. I had to bet it. I mean, when you see the 10, obviously -120, so not like the true number right there, but I had to. So I am in on some Commanders 10 right there. To me, that was very tempting. Now, like you said, it's 9. I still think that's good. But once you get like 8.5, 8, that's obviously when it starts getting sketchy. That's key numbers right there. So for me, I mean, it is interesting to see the line movement, not necessarily surprising necessarily, because I think Washington should never be at 10. I think that's the breaking point. Similar with how we talked about the Rams-Eagles, 7 being the breaking point. Like that's the number it can't cross before big money really starts coming in on the other side. So I don't know, man. I still think it's going to be a closer game than people expect, though. When I look at these two teams, I don't see how it's not a competitive game. So, you guys already know I'm on the Commanders, but got a little bit of 10 yesterday. Still don't hate the 9s out there, though.
Yeah, I'm looking and just kind of using the pro report thing on action. I'm seeing 53% of the bet slips on Washington, 50% of the money, so obviously more on that, but 98% money line on the Lions at that 470 price. So again, we kind of talk about it here too. Is like somebody's going to shit in the apple pie, bro. Right? What are these favorites going to go down? Whether it's the one that everybody's playing, which is that Ohio State, Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, whatever it is. One of them, for the love of God, I hope goes down. Dude. I ain't trying to watch a favorite fest going through here. I want a little bit extra here. So,
yep.
Let's take a look at the other ones. I don't think anything else has really moved. Seeing the Eagles pretty stuck at that 6. across the board there. The Ravens actually moved up to 1.5 now.
That's tough.
I was surprised on that.
I wish I jumped early. I think I'm taking the Ravens this week. I don't know how much I'm going to bet on it itself, but everyone's got to take a stand on that game. If you're an analyst,
you can't just sit.
Yeah. I want to. I want to sit on the sidelines and be like, this is great football. You got to make a pick. You know what I mean? It's the game of the fucking week. And for me, I'm at the point, I love the Bills. It's always been the Bills. I'm taking the fucking Ravens this week. So I wish I got that early even money, though. It was a pick 'em. And now we're looking at -1.5. I have to think late money's coming back on the Bills. So if it gets to a reasonable number again, I probably will be betting the Ravens. Because with how many sharp people out there love the Bills, and I mean, the kind of quarterback Allen is really appeals to a lot of that stuff. I mean, man, I have a hard time not seeing money coming back in on Buffalo. I really do think that happens. Maybe it's just before tip, though. You got to wait a little bit.
Yeah, my thing is I still got to go Bills on this, bro, because this is a Bills Mafia type of game, bro. I saw it's supposed to be cold as fuck.
It is.
Like, this is why we have Josh Allen, bro. This is why you bring in a Wyoming guy, bro. Like, that's why you do it, right? So, I will give a quick shout to our guy. Not even that he knows who we are, but Kevin Roth putting out some good stuff. Obviously, that we follow. Yeah. I follow him. Like, he got notifications on for me during MLB season, not during NFL because I have time, but like, when your boys grinding DFS every single day, MLB, bro, you're in the weeds. You need to know if games are going to get canceled. So I know we did want to mention this. I'm going to put this even up here now just because weather numbers are going to be important for this game because really we got 3 of them. We got 3 of them where it's kind of sketchy. We'll start out with the Chiefs one, cold, but no rain or anything. It's like mid-20s, where it gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Like this, again, I think kind of screams like this. This kind of just screams like that Mahomes type of game, at home. I'm curious to see how CJ Stroud does in a cold weather game. That's kind of why I think this number moves up to 9.5 by game start. When people actually see it, it's like, oh shit, like. This is what the Chiefs like, dude. This is like what they're good at, man. This is how they beat the crap out of these teams, right? Is they just like demoralize you a little bit there. So I know you kind of talked about that might actually help the Texans in this spot, but I don't know, man. I mean, you look it up. I have to look at their games on what games they even played outdoors this year. Yeah. I think it was like two, maybe 3. And I think one of them popped up. So there are 2 actual games like on grass. All the rest, there was one that was an outdoor turf, I think. I think that's what I saw on there when I looked. So again, you got to give kind of a big edge there. Obviously, not that Arrowhead isn't an advantage enough. We're going to give them some weather in there too, but hey, perks of being the 1 seed there. I'll run through all of them and then I'll kind of take your stuff here. We got Washington, Detroit, obviously a dome. Everything looks to be trending towards snow in the Philly game. So, again, that'll be interesting there. Obviously, you kind of have to lean towards the Eagles in that, when it turns into a game like that, just with that offensive line. I will give credit where credit is due. That Rams defensive line they've been tough, bro. They've been tough over these last 6-7 weeks. They've been really good when they needed them to be good. So, I think that'll be a fun matchup. I definitely think that if it's a lighter snow, I don't think you're going to see people right? So I think we're going to be good. Is that you or me?
That's me. I pulled up. I tried to share the link again, and I got a fucking ad. I got to pay for YouTube Red out here. God damn it!
YouTube got to get their thing, bro. They got to get their thing. It said 5 to 10 miles an hour wind, so nothing crazy. But yeah, dude, I think it's going to be interesting. I think that actually could kind of on here. Kevin Roth mentions that it might slow down the pass rush a little bit with a little bit of that snow and kind of getting that just that little bit of that layer on there. We get a little slick. So I don't know, man. I always give credit to the offense in these types of games. I actually like leaning towards the over. I hope that this gives me a little snow in the morning before this game starts. Everybody bets the under. Your boy's coming in on that over, bro. Yeah. Guess what? Offense knows where they're going, bro. I say this every time there's snow. As long as it's not sideways wind with it, I'm good. I'm fine with the snow. Jameis Winston, baby. right? We talked about it during that game. So last one, obviously, I just talked about it. I said it's cold. It's supposed to be cold as hell, bro. That Ravens game is supposed to be super cold. Temperatures in the teens during the game. Obviously, a little bit of wind, but definitely could see some snow in that one too. So, do you think that actually helps the dogs in these spots in those 3 games? Obviously, we have the Rams as a dog there, the Bills and Houston. Do you think that actually helps them? Because we have seen all of those teams run the ball pretty well.
Yeah, unfortunately against the Eagles, I don't think it helps you with those offensive and defensive lines that they got going. You kind of nailed it when you covered that. Like the Rams, Kyron versus Saquon on the ground, like not the battle you want. I think the Texans, still going back to that, I don't think it helps them win the game because we have talked about CJ Stroud's struggles outdoors, and I think those chunk plays help them win a lot. But once again, to cover, I do think it helps them. To slow it down, let's both run a lot more. Once again, Pacheco, he could pop off. Pacheco's been huge in his playoff games. I think the guy's got 75 scrimmage yards in like 5 or 6 straight playoff games, like even as a backup, when he wasn't fully the guy, he was still balling out. So it's not like he hasn't done anything, but once again, 42 straight carries come into this game without a 10-yard run. Like that's concerning to me. You have 2 weeks of rest. Maybe he's back up, but if not, then it's the same thing about last week of like Mixon can run for 3 yards at a time. He can slow this game down. He can make it ugly. The defense gives you a chance. Maybe you can win a game in the weather. But I agree. I don't think it actually helps your chances of winning that much, especially against Mahomes, but I do think it helps your chances of covering a little bit more. So, yeah, I don't mind that. But I think the other games, it's not going to be as impactful. Obviously, Saquon, I mean, his yards are 110, whether it's snowing or not. You know what I mean? So the guy's going to run all over you no matter what. So, yeah, I don't think the weather's going to be too big of a deal this weekend.
Yeah, it's a tough ask, man. And like I said, I'm a little bit more towards like looking at these teams as covering, but I don't know, man. When you get the Bills at home in this type of spot, like fuck, it's tough for me to go against them, especially with how you're gonna see those dudes with shirts off anyway, bro. Even if it's fucking 2 degrees, so it's gonna be rowdy. So we got 17 of you guys in here in the morning. We see some of the familiar faces. We got Fam popping in here. We are out here early and often placing bets in morning coffee, slice of heaven. Yeah, dude, it's that time, man. It is that time, and we will get you guys right into our bets coming up right now. I'll kick it over to you, Stu. We will start on Saturday. We have some bets for Saturday, and I'll kick it over to you to start us off in this spot with a guy I'll be talking about in a second anyway, but I'll let you take it away first.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're going to Monroe St. Brown in this one, over 74.5 receiving yards. I'm going to tweet this out right now just because we're a little early. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you watch the show for the last couple of years, you know that we're big fans of Amon-Ra St. Brown here. Honestly, think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. In my little 4-for-4 write-up I just posted, added some stats that really don't matter that much, but like second in the league in QBR when targeted. The guy's got like the lowest drop rate of any outside wide receiver in the league. He catches everything you throw to him. He runs consistent, good routes. He's open all the time. He's a pain in the ass no matter what kind of team you are. Like good secondaries really struggle with a guy like this because he's the kind of guy that can get open in short space against anybody, right? So when you go to now a Washington team that really doesn't have anything for you, that's when I struggle, right? Because once again, last week, if you're a Washington fan and you went into that game, you got to be thinking Marshawn Lattimore is a big part of us winning this game, right? His presence back, we needed to stabilize. If you watch that Falcons game before the season ended, I mean, Drake London torched us in the second half. That was one of my only one and a half unit plays in the second half of the season was Drake London. And then once they stopped just peppering Bijan up the middle, London was open on every single play in the second half. Like truly, it was the easiest, cash in the world right there. And for me, after that moment, I don't know why you wouldn't attack wide receiver ones consistently versus Washington. And when we go to then what just happened in round one, I mean, Mike Evans out of the gate, they were going at Marshawn Lattimore. It was not like let's see what's going on. Let's test the waters. It was like, this guy's played 4 quarters all year long. We are going at him. And that's what they did. And they had a lot of success. The problem with Washington is what you saw is if it's not working with Lattimore, they don't have a lot of good options. Like Mikey Sainristil is their rookie. he's been a very good rookie. I would say he is an average corner. And to be an average corner at this point in the season as a rookie, especially as a bit of an undersized guy, is huge. The problem, he was a slot guy. That's where he played. A lot of nickel, a lot of slot in college. They immediately moved him outside because we've got nobody for the outside. And we've got Noah I don't want to say the last name. We're not going to butcher that. Noah I in the slot. He's been actually surprisingly good, depending on the metrics you look at. PFF doesn't love him. Some other stats like EPA do love him. I think he's been a very above average guy for someone we picked up for like $1 million a year. He can only play in the slot. So we got to put Sainristil on the outside. This opens up a pretty bad problem when the wide receiver one's cooking you because you don't have anyone to put Lattimore on after that. Like Lattimore can't go to McMillan because he can't go to the slot in that first game because they already got Noah I and Mike Yes fighting for it. You know what I mean? So there's already a lot of competition there. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is because Amon-Ra St. Brown splits his time from the outside and the slot. So when he's on the outside, I do think he sees a lot of Marshawn Lattimore, a matchup I'm not really scared of. But in the slot especially, I think that's where he has his biggest mismatch here. And I really don't think, because of what I just went through, I don't think Washington actually has the personnel to switch their corners enough to like adjust for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think it's going to be the classic case that he gets a lot of good slot mismatchups. He gets an occasional safety mismatch. They're going to move him around and they're going to use him creatively. So when I look at this Washington team, I don't really see a good way to stop Amon-Ra St. Brown. To be honest, I don't see a good way to stop Jameson Williams at all. This team has been incredibly blitz heavy in the first half of the season. If I'm Washington, I would be sitting back and cover 2 all game long. I think I'm just praying that you can get enough stops in the red zone. You can force a field goal or two and hopefully outscore them on offense. But like, man, the corner group is really not suited for a combo like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And I think that the threat on the outside of that speed with Jameson is really going to open up the middle of the field a lot more for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And finally, I talked about it a little bit. A lot of people are big on David Montgomery in this game. They're big on Jahmyr Gibbs, that running back duo. I talked about this on Wednesday, talked about it a little bit on Monday. For me, I really do think that especially with David Montgomery, every 4-yard run is a win for the Washington defense. Every time David Montgomery touches the ball, in my opinion, is a win for the Washington defense. I'm being specific because Jahmyr Gibbs can't really be in that category because the guy's a lightning rod, right? He touches the ball at 20 yards at a time. Like he's the guy that I am really scared of. So honestly, seeing Montgomery back in the lineup, it hurts to say, as such a big fan of him as a player, I'm happy. I think that's good stylistically for Washington. I want that bruiser trying to go up the middle against our 2 blue chip guys, Payne and Allen, right? I want that. That's where I want you to try to be running. I'd prefer you don't try to hit the outsides, take advantage of the linebackers. You know, Bobby Wagner's great. Not quite as fast as he was once, and especially dealing with some ankle injuries as well. So it's one of those things where a lot of people love the rushing game. I understand it. But to be honest, I do think every drop back is going to be dangerous. And I felt that way last week. Every time Baker Mayfield dropped back, I was incredibly scared. I mean, it really felt like they could do whatever they wanted. They just got dominated in time of possession, so we didn't see it enough. So I think there's a lot of factors in this game that are bringing Amon-Ra's number down because we bet this guy at 88 before. You know what I mean? Like he's been priced a lot higher than this. So I think this is a very reasonable number for a wide receiver one in the highest total game of the playoffs. And I think, Amon-Ra should sail over this number.
Yeah, also, it's in a dome, right? We always bring that up. It's in a dome, especially for him. In this spot, I'm going to go right to mine. I'm going to be playing Amon-Ra at that 60 line with Kelsey. I had to find a way to put Kelsey in my bets. Again, if you want to go off to last year's playoffs numbers, hit this in every single game. I mean, obviously, getting absolutely peppered with targets in these games. You want to go back to 2022, hit this in every single game on the receptions number. It's just this dude just becomes such a bigger focal point of this offense with it. And even last year, right, they were still pretty run heavy in their game scripts last year because that defense was elite. So I think when you look at these games, Kelsey's you're probably gonna see that shovel pass, right? You got that counts for a catch, right? Yeah. They have a lot more design plays to get Kelsey the ball because not saying you don't trust everybody else, right? But DeAndre Hopkins hasn't played in a meaningful playoff game, and I couldn't even tell you how long, bro. When's the last time we saw him in a meaningful playoff game? Not saying he can't do it. It's just he hasn't been there, right? Xavier Worthy, same thing, right? I mean, you look at these guys that they're having to trust. I could quite possibly say the second guy I trust most on this passing game is Noah Gray, right? Being his backup because he's been there. He's playing all of these rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like he's played in like the last 4 or 5 of these playoff runs there. So the consistency of Kelsey and Mahomes to continually get these guys to the final every single time, it's pretty damn impressive. So I have a combo of these two in almost every one of my best balls that I have left. Right, I've made like I think 10. And I threw them into some 5 entry lineups, and I think I made 4 through. And I think I have 2 of these ones where I have Amon-Ra and Kelsey, where I found a way to make it through, squeak through. Shout out Lad McConkey for doing it for me, getting me through there, and Nico Collins getting these guys in there. So I can't get away from Kelsey. I'm going to probably bet him in a couple other ways as well. But going off of Amon-Ra stuff, dude, I just don't think there's a way to slow down all of these guys, right? And also, I think early on, you might just see them run the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
And then, but we kind of saw it last week where Washington, like, I don't want to say sold out, but damn near sold out to stop Bucky Irving because of how good he has been. And luckily, they were able to hold the ball long enough where it didn't matter. Baker just didn't have rhythm anymore, right? You could see that he was out of sorts a little bit. And it's because I think they had, 8-10 minutes more of possession time for Washington. So that obviously helps. But, yeah, I think this is a tough spot for these corners to try and, hey, we're going to go up against Amon-Ra here and be fine, especially when you have Jameson Williams on the outside healthy. I think that's going to be a tough spot for whoever's guarding him. If they do decide to put Lattimore out there, that's going to be just – boy's about to get cooked. I mean, this dude's running on one leg against Jamo. So I don't know how that's going to work. Also, just seeing Laporta be able to do that as well. Montgomery's a willing pass catcher. I don't see them using him that much in that avenue there. But, all right, Washington, this is your time to put up or shut up here. And this is the guy you got to stop. This is their number one guy. You know, every third down they're going to him. And all these big plays, they're going to him. We've seen it so many times throughout this year. When they need that 8-yard catch, it's going to Amon-Ra. I think everybody knows it is, and you still can't stop it. That's what makes this almost impossible because you can't double them out of the slot. It's impossible with Laporta on the other side, who's, again, talked about the last 5 weeks, he's been really good. We talked about at the beginning of the year, I think he was like a 10% target share through the first 7 weeks of the season. Like, did this guy really fall off? It's kind of like Kelsey there, right? Everybody was talking on him and saying he was dust, and Laporta was a bust now, but now they're showing who they are when the games actually matter. So I really like this spot, and I just think there's too many weapons on that Lions side, and 60 yards for Amon-Ra. It's just like walking the park for this dude.
Yeah, no, that's a number he can get to, even like the 40-0 worst case scenario blowout. You know what I mean? Like, it's still reasonable for Amon-Ra right there. And you nailed it with Kelsey, obviously, just so dependable. I don't know what to do. Like, obviously, Kelsey, the only possible L would just that he looks terrible. But to me, like, I really think shout out Zach Ertz. The guy hasn't, like, someone in the comments asked about his under.
Yep.
He hasn't been like a step away from a defender all year long. He hasn't created like a single inch of separation at 49 years old. And the guy's somehow been like a competent tight end all year long. So even if Kelsey's kind of dust, I still think he hits 5 catches pretty easily. I think the barrier for Kelsey's getting from that 6 to 7 to that like 9 to 10. You know, I don't know if he has that athleticism. I don't know if he's playing 100% of snaps to get him to those incredibly high numbers. But yeah, love Kelsey in this one. Just wanted to bring up Ertz just because they're both kind of the old as hell tight ends in the playoffs here. And I do like the under for Ertz as well.
Yeah, and I mean, he's hit in 5 of his last 6. The only one he missed was against the Browns, where it was 21-0 heading into the 4th or something like that. So it's like it's tough on that spot. It also reminds me a lot. I'm going to pull this guy out of my ass here, Jason Witten. You ever watch Jason Witten get open at the end of his career?
Yeah.
The dude's running like a 6'5" 60 or a 6'5" 40, and this dude just can't get any separation, but he's open. Yeah. And Romo just throw that ball and he'd be open. And it was pretty impressive because the dude could not get away from anyone. There's no separation, no way at all. But you put it around, the dude just puts his hands out and it's right there. So that's what it kind of reminds me of when I see some of these older tight ends start moving there. But you start to see these guys trust them a lot more, right? I mean, we talk about the rookie quarterback's best friend being the tight end, and Ertz is doing his thing here. So Might be his last one, maybe one more with the new rookie coming in that they drafted. I think they kind of know it too. That probably getting to the end of that run. So I think Sano will be fine. Or I think that's how you say it, right? Sano.
Yeah, Sano, whatever. Ertz is getting a 1 year after this for sure, though. If it's not with DC, it's just as the leadership role. Like, he's killed it in that role. So he's coming back no matter what. But yeah, no, definitely like the Kelsey look right there. And yeah, I'm going to be betting on Kelsey as well. It's going to be hard not to this week. I think we both have that same belief that the market just isn't quite pricing in that it's go time. You know, we're not fucking around. It's not the regular season. You're not half-assing it. And for me, the biggest thing about this bet that I didn't mention, it's really hard to write this up, but I actually think it's the most important part. When Mahomes is uncomfortable, when he's out the pocket, when he scrambles, Travis Kelce has 100% target share, right? Fuck the numbers. Like, that is his guy. They have the best connection out of any player in the league. So when you look at their regular season game logs, it's Mahomes point and shoot, you know, check down, keep the ball moving. In the playoffs, they're letting him cook. And when you let him cook, you go to your number one guy. And it's really as simple as that. Like, I don't think you need any other, he's over in 80 million playoff games, blah, 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 which it is. He's over in every fucking playoff game ever. You know what I mean? But it's one of those that it's as simple as that it's serious time now. The only possible negative would be simply that they just whoop the Texans' ass. That's the only way I could see this losing. They just whoop the Texans' ass. So, but also Kelsey probably cooks along the way there as well.
Yeah, also just bringing that up, I like what you said there. In some other ways to look at that is just like Mahomes really doesn't run the ball that much during the regular season. It's like maybe like 1, 2, maybe 3. 9 in the Super Bowl last year, 6 against Baltimore in the divisional championship or in the championship AFC, 6 against the Bills, and then 40 rushing yards against Miami last one through. So it's like those rushing plays, there's probably been a couple of them in that spot too where he throws them while he's on the run, right? So just a little bit more willingness to hold the ball and try to make something happen here. Let's take a look at a couple of these questions. I think we had one more that just popped in from our guy Mitch. Thoughts on Collins' longest reception at 27.5? I know it's been a topic over the last 2 shows, but feels like it's a good spot against the Chiefs. I guess for me, I don't mind it just because Collins is that explosive. The weather scares me a little bit, especially with this pass rush from the Chiefs as well. I think you're pretty much just betting on this dude taking yards after the catch off a slant or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the hit condition here. I don't feel like there's going to be enough time, right? I don't feel like it's going to be that nice out for him to want to throw. That ball's going to be a literal rock. That's what he's going to be throwing. So, I don't know. I wish they had a tight end that was competent at catching a football. I would bet him immediately. I would. But I don't know if I can, just kind of reading off what we talked about with the weather a little bit earlier. It kind of scares me a little bit. Even though I did mention I do like the offenses a little bit more in those spots, I don't like it really as much as the like deep balls, right? I like it more like these guys can make something after the catch, and obviously Collins is great at that, but Chiefs are damn good at making the tackles, man. They don't miss. Like, that's why they'll let it up, but they won't give up the explosive play, which is why they've been so good. What's your thoughts on this one, Stu?
Yeah, I've liked it the last couple of rounds. Like 27.5 isn't even a discount is the problem. You know what I mean? You know how we played Pickens a couple rounds ago at 23.5? Well, that's because it went from 27 to 23. You're not getting the Collins discount here. You're getting the full price. So I think I may have, I don't even know. I want like access to one of these guys' longest reception for like a parlay, you know, like a 30 plus or something at plus money. I think I'd rather just go Mechie at this point with the way better price, with the upside. I think they all have the same path to victory, honestly, on one of those shallow crossers or slants over the middle or even a deep cross. Like, those are the kind of plays like where I see it happening as well. And I think at this point, Collins is going to be so covered. If you look at the Chiefs splits with Watson, who's back healthy at cornerback there, they're drastic. And I don't know if one player really can have that much impact, but just the numbers alone were insane with him on and him off in terms of their secondary. So, I mean, a lot of attention towards Collins. For me, it's a little bit stressful. Probably gonna stay away.
It's I would almost take like receptions, which I never thought I would ever say, but how else they moving this fucking ball, dude? Dalton Schultz?
I can't take receptions with him though. I think a lot of it's going to be 20 yards down the field. It's brutal.
But that's what I mean. Like,
and he actually
isn't be able to make it down the field with how much pressure is going to be.
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm nervous.
When you notice, when they throw Nico Collins screens, good things don't really happen. Like, he's not actually very good in that position. They just do it because they got nobody else. So that's kind of my problem with him in the short yardage game. I would be way into it if he's actually good there, but it kind of reminds me of early season Terry McLaurin when we were playing with the worst quarterbacks in the league. Terry's a downfield guy. So is Nico Collins. These are downfield players. That's where they win the most. That's where they make their money. When you can't get them the ball, then you have to give them these shitty bubble screens and stuff. But when that's not their specialty, they're not really going to excel there. So for me, like, I can't really get to the receptions and I can't get to the longest. Like, I just can't get to Collins in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
It's just really, if you're down in the game, right? In obviously books and in the lines tell us they're going to probably be losing in this game. How else are they moving this ball down the field, bro? Like, then maybe you just, like, if you want to bet Collins right there, maybe you just bet Mechie, bro. Like, yeah, that's pretty much.
I would rather.
The lines, you're getting obviously a huge discount because Nico Collins is a fucking monster, but you don't think they're gonna take him away? Like Spagnuolo, like, it's the most glaring thing ever, dude. Like, the only two people that move the ball on this offense are Mixon and him. That's it. And their defensive line is good enough to probably just be like, all right, do your job like you normally do. You guys are damn good.
Yeah. I took a little Hutchinson. That's the last guy. I took it 25 yards a little bit at plus money. And then a big capper put out 12.5. So I got on it right like before because I knew it was going to move. And now it's like 16. I probably would just rather play like the 25 than the 16. But I think generally Hutchinson, he actually ran the third most routes last game. He was like one over Woods, I believe. And now Woods has had the injury stuff. And now Deontay's been cut. That was 14 routes. He's at 17. So, like, I think Hutchinson could get out there a little bit more. But it's kind of the same thing. I'd rather, fight for scraps, considering Collins is going to be dealing with just the heavy pressure all game.
Yeah. All right. Let's get one more in, and then we get to our second round of plays. Mitch, yes, appreciate you, man. Thank you for popping in. I hope the Chiefs make it the Super Bowl just so I can see what the prop number is on this for those crazy Super Bowl bets to see a Kelsey hook and ladder on there. Last one before we get to our next place. Thoughts about Eckler overs or Robinson unders? Obviously, expecting them to be down in the game. Eckler obviously becomes a much bigger part of this offense. What's your thoughts here, Stu? Are you going back to Eckler? I know we talked about him quite a bit on the show last week. Are you going back to him at all?
Yeah, I like Eckler in this one. It kind of hurt that he wasn't as involved last week in the passing game as I thought he was. Robinson was actually a little bit more involved there than I expected. But overall, I would still lean Eckler overs in general. I think he continues to play a heavy role in this one. Robinson, I don't think I can take the unders at this point. I think they're too adjusted. I was on the under rushing and receiving last week. We did cash that. But looking at it now, I think they've adjusted very fairly. And I think Washington still, you got to remember, they're going for it. They're doing some flashy stuff. The coaching staff on this team is still fairly like old fashioned. We got to establish the run. That's what they've been kind of doing all year long. And I think they know that, or in their head, I think they think that limiting the Detroit offense, keeping them off the field is the best strategy. And that happens with a successful run game. I think the problem is they just won't be successful. So I think they'll start running early, they'll fail, and then they'll pass again, which is kind of what happens honestly with every run heavy team, like every game of the year when you're losing. It's just it's the natural progression in the NFL there. So I would lean Eckler overs and Robinson kind of pass. I just think his numbers are brought down. The only thing, I played first drive reception at plus 700. I thought that was insane. Just like Eckler probably won't be out there on the first couple plays. He's going to sub in. He's going to get involved. But Robinson should start. So getting a first drive reception, I mean, to me, that seems like because they're going to be checking down a lot. Easy completions, blah, blah, blah. That to me would be a little long shot angle I played there.
Beautiful. Let me, I'll go next actually for my last play here, just because I'll still be on Saturday. I know you got one for Sunday, so I'll let you finish off the show. But I talked about it on here last time, and I didn't think I was going to bet it. And then I looked at numbers. I'm like, damn. It's weird when the numbers actually match what you think in your head without like actually looking at it. Like without actually looking into the data and stuff. I'm going to go to Zane Gonzalez under 1.5 field goals. Minus 130 feels very fair here. Dude, there is just no way that you can kick field goals in Detroit and expect to win this. I almost said baseball. Expect to win this football game. I wanted to look at a couple of these games with the Lions, right? And look at the teams that kicked field goals and what happened to them. What happened to them? 31-9 against the Vikings because they just say, we're in the red zone. We're going to kick a 30-yard field goal. Guess what? They got blitzed. They got absolutely smoked. Then you start looking down these lists and see like, okay, these games that are close, right? These games that are close, what are they doing? Oh, they're not kicking field goals. The Packers lost to them by 3. McManus had 1 field goal. They went for it on 4th more than they have throughout the season, right? Because you kind of have to. Then you go to this other one, the Bears, right? They played them to a 3-point game. What do? Kick 1 field goal, right? Because it's just when you have – obviously there's going to be times where it's like 4th and 8, right, or 4th and 10 where you're not going to be able to do anything with it. Even there, honestly, I probably wouldn't put it past him. Zane Gonzalez, before last game, his furthest kick was 47 yards on the season, right? And then you look at some of these games where these guys are kicking more field goals, like the Bills game. Tyler Bass is kicking 51-yarders consistent, bro. It was 48, 51. Like, you're relying on this guy, and, I mean, he's good, right? We talked about Tyler Bass last show already. He's really good. Looking at the numbers here on the season, Detroit actually at home, people are only kicking 1.7 field goal attempts per game. Guess what? That's not makes. That's just attempts, right? So 1.7 field goal attempts. And I trust Zane Gonzalez coming off of that big – could have been debacle, bro. The dude almost missed a 38-yarder, and they moved it to where he wanted it to be. Now you're kicking it in a huge spot against the number 1 team in the NFC, and now you're going to tell me he's going to kick a 50-yarder? I don't even think they would let him have the opportunity to kick it, right? You saw him go for it right on the edge of that 50-yard mark in the last game, and they just consistently started going for 4th downs. I think that was almost like the point where it's like, this is a big game. We're going for it. Like, That kind of shows it. That gives you confidence heading into this game where it's not your first time actually going for it, right? And that's why I think the Lions are so damn good on 4th down, because they just do it so much. They don't even think it doesn't even matter to them. It's just like, oh, 4th down, all right, we've done this, 30 times already this year is nothing to it, right? Because on the year, the Commanders really haven't gone for it that much on 4th. But obviously when it comes to the big moments, big games, they did. And obviously when we see these games come down to the wire, I don't know, man. I think that this team's going to have to start doing some stuff a little bit more aggressively to beat a team like this. And they know they're underdogs. You got to know you're underdogs. This is the number 1 team, right? You got to go out here, and when you get to the red zone, score. Because the Lions defense has been a bend, don't break type of team anyway. So you're inside the 20, you're inside the red zone. You gotta put up touchdowns. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because this defense ain't stopping anybody. That Washington team is not stopping anybody defensively. So sign me up. I'm going to be going to Gonzalez on the season. He's averaging 1.1 field goals per game. You want to go even deeper? I believe he's only crossed the over 1 field goal mark once prior to the game against Tampa, and that was his first game against the Steelers. So yeah, it's a tough look, a tough ask, and I think a lot of people are seeing, oh, Zane made that big field goal. Everybody was talking about him. Hey, time to fade, baby.
Yeah, when the first second you mentioned this, I fucking love this play. Like, I love this play right here. And honestly, my biggest worry when you mentioned it was going to be like minus 170, And I think the reason that it isn't is pretty simple. I just think these markets are just not bet into that much. There's not anyone sharpening them up to the point where they're missing kind of obvious spots like this. Because I fully agree. Washington showed their hand last week. They came out. They said, we got to be aggressive. We got to play into the odds. We're the underdog. Let's go out there and not act like it. Let's go for everything. It's the same Lions mentality of like, we are the best team on the field. We can get it when we go for it. So we're going to go for it, right? And then we're going to get it. And it's worked for Washington. They have a historic 4th down offense, literally the most efficient 4th down offense we've ever seen. from a fucking rookie quarterback. Like, they're going to be aggressive. They know the Lions are 10-point favorites in this game. Cliff ain't stupid. He knows what he's going up against right there. And you got to have your pedal to the fucking metal. You got to go for it in this game. You got to be as aggressive as humanly possible. And it doesn't hurt that it just worked. You just did that last week and it worked. So you're going to be confident. You're going to be coming in aggressive. I like the under on field goals. I saw there's some punts stuff as well. I'll probably try to find a way to play the under on punts, but definitely joining you right here. I mean, regular season stuff does not matter at all. Like, at the end of the day, to me, Zane Gonzalez is a bad kicker. Or median. He hasn't kicked since 2021. So this isn't my opinion. It's the league's opinion, right? I mean, he's come back, made a couple kicks. I'm rooting for the guy. The OCD stuff, very cool as well. People were kind of taking shots at him, but it's cool to see something he's been publicly, battling with for a while and kind of, not beaten, but is embraced and, become part of his. I really respect that, and racing awareness and stuff. Big fan of the guy, but the team knows like that. The field goals last game was kind of desperation. You were able to stop the Bucks. You're probably not going to be able to stop the Lions. Like, let's keep it real. It's 55 total. You're not going to be able to stop them, and you can't beat touchdowns with field goals. And they know this. We know this. It's going to be an aggressive game. Love this angle. Great play.
Yeah, and again, you kick a 50-yarder, you're going to give Jared Goff the ball on that offense, the ball on the 40, the 45. He's holy shit, bro. Like, you got to.
The field goal has to come. The only problem, I guess, would be the penalties for Washington. You get in the red zone, penalties, it's 4th and 14, or whatever. Then you probably have to, but.
James Daniels has made a lot of those plays, though. It actually gets him to score. That's
yeah. So I think he has one. That's all I wanted to say. I think Zane does get one in this game. I think it scares people, and it might even be early. I think it might be early, maybe a live.
I'm ready for a sweat, my man. I'm ready to sweat now.
But I'm just saying, like, that once the second half comes, there's going to be no field goals. So, like, it might be a little sweaty. That's all I'm warning you.
The tough part is Washington down 2. Last drive, and I need him not to make a field goal, and Stu's just rooting for that field goal to win the game.
Oh, my God. And I'm going to have a good amount of money on this in the account, too. I'm going to have to that money. We got to get the win. Got to get the
I will
win.
never bet a Lions field goal kicker over field goals.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I will never do it. I just can't. You know how mad I would be on, like, a 4th and 9 when they go for it, and I'm like, oh, this is free. I'm getting a free field goal. How pissed would you be when you're at one field goal and they just don't kick it, right? And they should, and everybody in the world would, except for the Lions. So I don't mind like your thought. I think this game is going to be pretty close, at least for a while. And I don't know, man. I just can see myself throwing shit if I take an over and I just watch a 4th and 10. All right, let's go for it. And they get 9 yards. I'm like, that's why, hey, I'm not trying to take years off my life watching this.
Sure.
So
especially on a kicker.
Oh, especially on a fucking special teams prop. Goddamn. All right, Stu, you brought you have our one Sunday play. I'll kick it over to you in the biggest game of the week here.
Yep. We're going to Lamar Jackson over 53.5 rush yards, -110. If you got like a 365, even I think MGM, I believe you still can get a 52.5 as well. To me, these are really low numbers for Lamar. I was very surprised coming in. Won over in 6 of his last 7 playoff games, or total playoff games, including last week, obviously, where he took care of business against the Steelers. A game where, to be honest, you wouldn't have been shocked if you had like 25 rush yards. They took care of business. They kind of beat the Steelers' ass. They really didn't have to try too hard in the second half. All of those factors play into a quarterback not having to run that much, not having to put their life at risk, not having to fight for every single yard. You let your running back take care of business there. You let Derrick Henry bully people for a little bit, and you save Lamar. That being said, he still crushed the number. This game is going to be a lot different. You get a Bills matchup, arguably 2 of the best teams in football right here, the 2 MVP candidates going back and forth. There's not a situation where this isn't like a competitive game, right, where Lamar doesn't have to run. And what I like about it is it's one of those plays for me that feels very game script agnostic, right, where let's say you're winning, you're ahead in this game. It's obviously going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. It's going to be almost all Derrick Henry, but as good as Derrick Henry is, you got one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. And to keep defenses honest, you're going to see a good amount of designed runs in there for Lamar. Oh, you fake Henry, and then maybe you fake the Lamar run 3-4 times. They really got to start respecting it. Then he finally pulls the trigger. Like, there's a lot of creative things you can do when you have such a mobile quarterback and such a mobile running back. So I think if we do see them go up early, if they're controlling this game, if they're taking care of business, then the designed runs, I think, are going to be through the roof for Lamar. But if you're in a negative game script, you're trailing. Worst case scenario, it's Lamar's down 10 in the playoffs again. We got to get shit going. All those drop back opportunities are going to lead to scrambles. Every drop back is a chance to escape the pocket and gain some yardage on the ground. So for me, when you have such a banged up wide receiver core, you're really depending on your tight ends in this game a lot. It'll be very interesting. The Bills like to play a lot of light sets, light boxes, a lot of nickel defense with Teron Johnson right there. He's going to be matched up against Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews all day long if you want to do that. Good luck, buddy. I mean, you're one of the best slot guys in the league out there. These are tight ends, not wide receivers. You know, they play a little bit differently right there. You know, Mark Andrews doesn't need much room to get a catch, you know? So I think the Bills are going to have to adjust a lot in this game with their defense, and I think that's going to open up a lot of Lamar rushing opportunities. So at the end of the day, I think this number is just simply too low. I think I would have set it at 60 at least. Like, I would have been in that level. And when you have two amazing teams, you have a game that's expected to be competitive. You have a total over 50. And I just don't see a game script where a part of his rushing game isn't going to be heavily utilized. I don't know why I wouldn't be betting this. Like, I don't know why. I can't really think of a good argument to the under, to be honest. Like, I tried pretty hard. And I think you can make very good arguments for a lot of unders, even on the overs I'm playing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, rushing game takes over, blah, blah, blah. I'm really struggling to find the argument for the under on Lamar here. So I got to take it over 53.5 rush yards.
Yeah, and I was just curious, too, because usually what we end up doing is taking a lot of rush attempts. If you're going to tell me that the books are giving me 9.5.
I know.
At just straight, like, I need 5 yards a carry from Lamar. Like, fuck, dude. And you know he's gonna pop one. Like, you already know he's popping 120 yarder. Like, it's every time. So I don't know. I get that it's a higher number for people to want to bet a quarterback at. Like, they saw Josh Allen last week pretty heavily bet at 43, 44, but it's like weather's a thing, man. Like, that on top of it too. So it's like, I don't know. This is going to be a crazy game, and you know that the quarterbacks are going to go at each other. So definitely like the spot for Lamar, and 10 rush attempts. I looked at it and I was like, "You gonna give me an 8.5? Is he going to be higher than Jaden Daniels? Where's he going to be at?" And to see him at even minus 115 each side for 10 carries, like,
yeah,
and the book's thinking that, then obviously this feels, I don't want to say safe. There's no such thing as a safe bet, but he's got to hope that those 10 carries are design carries and not 3 kneel downs. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the only difference between those two that could kind of get you. But definitely feel like this game is going to be one of those that both quarterbacks are going to have to show out in a big spot.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously Lamar's game log last game did get boosted by the kneel downs. But I mean, over 10 carries in that game without the kneel downs is crazy. Like, in a game that you didn't have to try very hard. I mean, they took care of business, right? The second half was fairly sweat-free. I mean, obviously you ran a little bit in there, but this is going to be totally different in my opinion. So, I think that's kind of a big factor there, just like motivation, just going out there and willingness to put your body on the line. It's going to be there. It's 100% going to be there in this game.
All righty. Let's take a look at a couple other questions in here. I know you're a P. Ryan specialist, so I'll let you take this one here. But
it's such a Chiefs move. That would be such a Chiefs move too. I kind of like some other backups more. My guy Dare Agumbawale. I want some lines. That would be nice. Even like I'm trying to think. There's another backup out there. Who else is in the playoffs still? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Oh, Ty Johnson as well. Just balled out last week. No lines yet. Maybe there are now, but weren't yesterday when I looked. But
you got to hold off, bro.
I know.
They know we got the show here. We're going to bet some DJ shit, bro.
If Ty Johnson's up right now, he could be my long shot for 25 receiving, honestly. I would definitely like that. But P. Ryan, it's too much of a committee for me to be interested, to be honest. That's what it comes. I like P. Ryan. I'm kind of tempted by these like pass catching things. There's going to be a lot of short passing for the Chiefs. It makes sense that P. Ryan Ryan would be involved. But you got Pacheco back and healthy. He's been talking a lot about what he's doing in the receiving game. The coaching staff has been talking about that as well. You got Kareem Hunt there, safe for probably 10 carries himself. Like, I don't know if there's enough room for P. Ryan, so I'm probably not going to be betting the overs.
Yeah. All right. Let's get a quick recap going here. All right, never mind. We got kind of a little mix here about a couple of mixing questions. You guys are trying to sell me on mixing unders, MCI. Next comment. Speaking of, we like him in the passing game. I don't use coach speak that much, but I did see that they talked about needing to get him involved in the passing game. Well, no fucking shit, dude. You can't move the ball any other way. Like you don't think they were doing this in their game plans before? Like, I get maybe it just didn't work, or like he wasn't open, or CJ Stroud's running for his fucking life the whole game. Either way, like that coach speak doesn't mean shit to me, bro. Like, I saw that. I'm like, well, no, dude, he's running routes. It's not like he's not running routes. It's like, okay, maybe you run a more design screen to him more often. Like, that's about it. Like, that's really it, because he's still running routes. It's just, if you can't block, he's got a chip. Like, that's
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do against the Chiefs? Just let CJ Stroud eat 8 sacks? That's going to happen if you don't chip. So
yeah, you nailed it.
I don't care what a coach is saying. Like, it's football, bro. Like, is it more important to actually get a pass off or get Mixon to run his route, right? So I get it, you want checkdowns, but I'm not trying to have this guy keep getting hit consistently, getting knocked down when it's 20 degrees, because that shit hurts.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, because Mixon receiving was literally like my first look last week of a play that I wanted to play the over, and I went through it and I ended up betting under 3.5 receptions. It was like that bad. Whereas like the first play, I'm going to be betting this over after going back and going through everything with all the blocking like you were saying. They just don't use him enough in the receiving game. Like, that's what I found. Like, for a 3.5 number, everything would make so much sense logically for him to go over, and you just go back through all of his games. It just doesn't happen. It barely ever happens. So that's my problem with Mixon. Maybe the coach speak is real. I would hope they get him more involved with design screens, because they don't have talent right now. And Mixon, love him or hate him, he's getting the job done. You got to get the ball in the hands of the guys that are moving the ball down the field. So I would hope that there's going to be more receiving work. Maybe I could get there in a long shot once again. But yeah, you gotta know that you're dealing with a tricky spot where they just haven't been using him enough there at all. It's been brutal. Like, I literally wanted to bet the over, and I ended up seeing a 3.5 receptions last week, was just crazy to me for a guy like Mixon who just hasn't been doing it. So I hope he goes over, but I'm probably not betting on it.
Dude, it's just tough. I don't know, man. Everything in my head just screams like, how are these guys scoring the football? Like, how are these guys moving the football in a cold game against this defense? Like, and that's why we're seeing that total keeps moving down. I think it's 41.5 now, juiced to the under now. It just keeps moving down. I'm like, damn, my long shot should just be them not to score 10 points. Like I'm serious. Like, that's literally what's sitting in my head right now. I just can't get over, like, you have 2 offensive weapons. Like, you have literally 2. All right, Stu. It's time for let's do our recap quick, and then we'll do some long shots.
Sounds good. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, 74.5 receiving yards, -110 over on FanDuel right now. And then we got Lamar Jackson over 53.5 rushing yards, -110, also on FanDuel.
I'll be rolling with Zane Gonzalez under 1.5 field goals. Hopefully it's correlated to Washington, like, staying close in this game and winning, hopefully. Kelsey, 5 catches. Amon-Ra, 60. The tough part for me, Stu, is, like, I'm cheering for Washington, but, like, I don't want the Eagles in the fucking Super Bowl. So, like, I almost – if the Eagles win, then I'm cheering for the Lions.
Washington's taking care of business, guys.
Or we just need the Rams in both of them. I would love to watch that. Rams fucking Washington. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. The shitty part is the Eagles play the next day. So, like.
Yeah. I don't feel that bad about the Eagles matchup, to be honest. As a Commanders guy, I don't feel that bad about that matchup. I think that's our best matchup in the playoffs. And because when you look
I feel like I've come on here enough and just said I don't like. I hate Sirianni. I just can't stand the dude's face. Can't stand him. Like, I mean, I don't think there was ever a point where I've ever said I liked the Eagles. I don't.
No, yeah. I'm just saying, Washington's path to victory is daring you to throw the ball and hoping you can't do it. That's their path to victory, in my opinion. In my analysis of how they would win a Super Bowl, which is even aggressive, win the next couple games, is you got to make them throw it. You got to stack the box as much as possible, stop the run, and hope they can't. Jalen Hurts is the guy that can't, in my opinion, in the playoffs. And I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him get boat raced, by the Bucs in the past. So for me, it's kind of one of those things where it's like any other team, I think they can keep up. Mahomes, you don't want to dare Mahomes to throw, right? You don't want to dare Josh Allen to throw. Lamar Jackson, been there, done that. Didn't really work too well. It wasn't a bad game. I thought that was a solid showing for young Jane Daniels. But, I think the Eagles would be their best shot, especially over the Lions, who we know can score. It's hard to race them, obviously.
Yes. All right, Stu. Long shot time. We got 42 of you guys in here with us live. Please hit that like button. It really helps us out. All right, Stu. Let's do this thing.
All right. I've got two in the same game. They're very similar. The way I played it, you only need one of them to hit. We can go Keon Coleman for the official one. I played Keon Coleman 15 first quarter yards for plus 400. And then the other guy, I played the same bet on Amari Cooper, 15 yards at plus 400. You can also get them at 10 yards for 280 each, which I did. So I did a first quarter ladder, essentially, with Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper, 10 and 15 yards. Same price right now. If you don't have DraftKings or one of these first quarter markets, I think longest reception is good for both of these guys as well. It's the same kind of logic. I just think we're getting very good prices early when I think the market thinks they're going to come out and run the ball aggressively again, and I don't think they're going to do that. I think one of the biggest edges in the regular season versus the postseason is like coaching staffs that adjust their game plan for every team versus coaching staffs that are cruising through the regular season. The Bills will adjust their game plan based on their opponent, which once again sounds like, oh, every team should do that. It really doesn't happen as much as you'd hope it would. A lot of teams are going to roll out what they're going to roll out, and they're going to adjust how they're going to adjust. But they're going to cater this game plan against it right here. And I think that's a good plan. So overall, going back to it a little bit though, 15 yards for two outside wide receivers that are running down the field routes is something that I want access to. Like, if you're going to make your specific game plan, you're going to come in here. The game plan is not going to be to run against the Ravens. Nobody's been able to do that this year. It hasn't been a successful strategy. They don't get much pass rush. You're going to have time to pass. For me, I think the path is Josh Allen's arm right here. And I think having Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper on the outside, while Marlon Humphrey is going to be in the slot, probably shutting down Shakir, I think those are the guys that I want to go to. So for me, you could obviously try to pick your spot. I think they could both hit, but it's more likely just one of them hits. You lose a little bit of money on the other guy. But having that 400 number for 15, when both of those guys' average catches are going to be, 14-ish yards. So that's what I like. I want a little access to both those guys. And I think Keon Coleman might have a surprisingly good game. He was like Taylor Connor Allen last week on his under 2.5 receptions was literally my second biggest bet of the week last week. I love that number. I thought it was really sharp. This is a completely different matchup, way better. I think Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper are involved down the field.
Yeah, the only thing I don't think I agree with is I think Josh is going to still run quite a bit.
Well, he'll run, yeah, but I mean, not in the scale of last week, I guess. Or him, no. He can still get 40, but the team is what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely taking Allen 50 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be the little bit of my, like making my number look a little bigger because I'm going to be rolling with Eckler today. I'm going to be rolling with Eckler 40, Josh Allen 50 rushing at plus 617. They don't give me anything higher on Eckler. 40 was the top they would give me on FanDuel, which, again, tells me enough. Also, I had two long shots on Eckler last week for receiving yards, and he ended up with like 27 or whatever it was. They counted the biggest catch he had of the game as a fucking rush, bro. Yeah, they counted that one that Daniels would have thrown it 6 inches more forward. I'm getting those freaking long shots, dude. I'm hitting that 40 yard because then they counted it as a rush. I'm like, fuck, dude, really? Like, damn, that's exactly what you're looking for. So it's like, now I even get even a better game environment. I'm going to get them probably losing in the first half just because, Detroit's scripted plays are amazing. So it definitely helps. And obviously them at home. Hopefully they start out fast and they can kind of play from behind here. I know Brian Robinson has been catching the ball a little bit more, but obviously who do you want catching the ball? Probably Eckler, because that's what he does. That's what he did in LA. So really like that spot for Eckler to get there. Josh Allen, I kind of have to play it here just because I mentioned it on Wednesday when we talked about breakdowns is they really haven't played a mobile quarterback. And the only mobile quarterbacks that they have been playing, Herbert was like 30 yards and a touchdown, and he is nowhere close to as mobile as Allen, obviously. And then there was one other one. I think it was it Daniels who had like 9 for whatever in a touchdown, 9 for 40 something in a touchdown. So this is after the Ravens have kind of picked up that pass defense, right? The pass defense was their Achilles heel early in the year. Now they fixed that. They haven't really played any of these like really elite rushing quarterbacks here outside of those 2, and I'm putting elite very quotation-y around Herbert being an elite rushing quarterback. But I think if we get those 9-10 carries for Allen, I think we're making something happen, especially if there's a little snow on the ground, which is why I was really heavy on that Lamar one with you as well. I think that definitely helps the quarterback in these situations, even though Allen might just chuck it 40 yards on the field anyway. But definitely really like rolling with Allen in this spot. It's only plus 105. So not getting too much, but Eckler doing the heavy lifting at plus 250. Think that's a good spot. And obviously I would have played it to 50 yards, but they're just not even allowing me to do that. So plus 617, definitely.
Yeah, no, I like the combo. Eckler, obviously, in trailing game scripts, has had some crazy lines this year. I think he had 89 against the Eagles or something like that earlier this season, which, shout out Austin Eckler. I mean, those hands, incredible. Like, even at that catch at the end of the game, kind of helped them win. That didn't get enough credit. Like, his hands are like pillows. Like, the way it just kind of fell into him, turning around like that was a beautiful catch. So, Eckler, he can beat you as a receiver out of the slot. He can beat you out of the backfield. Definitely like that. And this combo right here that MCI brings up, definitely a good spot. Obviously, I'd probably put that back up at like 110. You know what I mean? So you got a good line right there. Definitely, like both these guys. It's the playoffs. It's time to put up or shut up. These guys are going to be leaving it all out there, and it's 2 of the best mobile quarterbacks in the league. So I would easily expect both these guys to be over 50 rushing yards.
Beautiful, beautiful. We got Madden here. Great show. Got my NFL plays. Let's go. Happy to hopefully travel treats you well, my man. Hit that like button if you could, guys. We appreciate it. Still got 45 of you guys in here. Always happy to see our guy, Cashville Rican. I don't know what I would do if this actually happens, but it's fucking not happening, bro. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts ain't even crossing 200, bro. Like, dude's.
If this is Jalen Hurts' game log, it's really good for the other team, by the way. Like, outside the 3 touchdowns, like
that means they're losing.
Yeah, I mean it does though. If he has to throw for 250 yards, it means
they're probably down 14 at least. Because they'll run it fucking down 10 with Saquon into the middle of their center the entire game if they really wanted to. But yeah, that's good, I guess. So hopefully he does it and they lose, but it's all right.
Yeah. Oh, I would love the Eagles to lose this week. I actually do have a lot of money on the Eagles money line.
I know you kept telling me you have future on these boys.
Like I have not only the future, but I also, when I built parlays this week, every week, especially with UFC back, it's good for your accounts. It's good for I just spam some parlays. You know what I mean? Just some money line, whatever, favorites, getting guys together. And for me, it's starting with the Eagles. I don't have the Lions in a single one. Like I said, I don't. I think that's.
Well, you can't. You can't.
I can. I bet against my guys all the time. But
but in this spot, dude, like you know how you're gonna be if you have that much money on there, and you're like, shit, fuck. Yeah. That's what I can just see happening. So.
No, 100%. And but a lot of people are on the heavy money line parlays, and I'll say it's not the smartest investment in the world, but. We all do it clearly. Even I'm doing it up here. For me, it's the Eagles are the more reasonable price, and I just think it's a rough matchup for the Rams. But yeah. So, if the Eagles lost, I'd still be happy out of the hater part of my heart. My wallet wouldn't be happy, but as a sports fan, I would still be happy. Yeah. So it would work out.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I'm not betting Islam this week at 350. I don't think I can do it. But
I'm on that.
There's a few guys that I like.
I don't even know how to say his name. The Asian guy.
Nakamura.
Yes.
He's
Dude,
gonna fucking murder him, dude.
He's in like every single one.
Dude,
so
he's so good. He is so good. I was watching a few of his fights again. Fuck, that guy is good, dude.
Okay.
Like, he is really fucking good. He's gonna kill him, dude. Like, actually kill this guy, bro. Gufarov is barely fucking doing good shit against it. I don't know how it's over 2.5. It's minus 200. I'm like, all right, I'm hammering that under 2.5. That dude's gonna finish the shit out of this dude. So, all right, Stu, anything else from you? Before we head out.
Yeah, no, just scroll like 2-3 minutes back for the quick recap if you missed it already. Try to get a free play or two out on Twitter over the course of the weekend. And yeah, make sure you're following in. We'll be back here on Monday. More props. Maybe a little later in the day. I'm getting back from West Virginia that day as well. So got to figure that out 100%.
West Virginia. That's a random one.
That's where my grandmother's at. That's where
I was like,
for her, yeah.
I was like, that's just a random spot. Like,
no, yeah, not just heading out for no reason, but yeah.
Like, Stu, what you doing out there, man? It's not that nice outside, bro. You ain't hiking, bro. So.
No, just seeing the fam, seeing the fam. Got stuff to deal with, so gotta go deal with it, whether it's football or not. Gotta go deal with it. Hopefully, find myself in a dive bar with like one other guy in the middle of nowhere watching a Commanders game. That's the only goal. I gotta get.
They might not even have TVs out there, bro, in the middle of nowhere out there. They might have to have those little antennas, and hopefully they find one in there.
We just got internet up there, so good news. Good news. For the first time, no joke, for the first time ever in the past, I've gone to West Virginia. I've been like, we just can't do the show. Like, there's no cellular, no internet. But we do have internet now, so I will be able to reach you guys as well. So,
oh goddamn, dude, I was dying there for a second, bro. I would have just spammed your fucking phone to the oblivion when I see the Eagles down 21-17, bro. It game over. I'm like, damn,
I would have been just going into a Walmart the next day, getting 40 text messages from you as they all loaded into my phone.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry here, Cashville. I'm actually on the other side. I actually really like Jamal Hill this week. Actually,
I can't bet Jamal Hill. I can't. I'll take the under. Under's the move. Under. Why not just under? Let's go under. Can we agree on that?
Is it because he's a heel now or what?
Well, I love Yuri. He's my guy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, sure.
Just I can't.
You're cutting out for me a little bit there. Sorry.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
My
hear
thing
you
just kind of messed up, bro.
But
I'm telling you right now, Yuri has no defense, bro.
Oh, I know. He's trained with his hands up for the first time. He glued him. I saw it in an interview. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna bet Jamal. We might have to make a side bet on this because I'm very, very interested in Jamal Hill this week. Like he's interesting. I bet him at plus 100, bro. Like early this week, right when it came out.
Yeah,
and I put 2 units on that shit, bro. Like I played that early, and I like it like a lot.
Man, I
can't take this dude's chin. What are you gonna do?
Jamal just got slept too.
Yeah, but Jamal was coming off in a fucking Achilles tear from.
I know that's not good though. The guy's been hurt.
But he came on like, dude. You know what happened? Did you see what he looked like? Did you see what he looked like 6 weeks prior to that? Dude was fat, bro. Like,
oh, sure.
Because he couldn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. And then,
he's still fat.
Nobody remembers who you are now, right? His leg got broken up. Hey, you want to tell him take this on short notice against fucking Killer? Against a fucking Killer?
Yeah.
That second fight Yuri did against him, he got worked, bro. He got killed. He got knocked out twice in 2 rounds. He got saved by the bell and then got smoked, bro. That's what I'm saying. He couldn't move. Like you could tell he was not 100%. Come on now. That was usually like 200, bro.
My only problem is Yuri coming back a little quick. I think it would have been nice if we took a little more time.
6 months.
I know it would have been nice if we took a little bit. But the thing is, Cashville nailed it. At the end of the day, we got a samurai going up against a bum, and I want the fucking samurai.
This is what's funny. Is everybody doesn't like Jamal Hill now? He finally went the heel route that you need to go.
Yeah, you're right. I get you.
Everybody wants him to lose, which is why I'm betting him, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody hates him. Everybody loves Yuri. That's why this money. That's why it's even close here.
But listen, I'm not an MMA guru. But when you go and you look and you see, obviously Yuri has no defense. That's his problem. All the MMA guys that I follow, when they tape Jamal Hill's footwork, apparently the guy's just dancing around out there. Like, he's just as fundamentally dumb as Yuri is. You know what I mean? Like, Yuri, for all of his problems, I mean, he's wide open. It seems like Jamal Hill's pretty wide open too. So you got two fucking killers going at it. That's why I could never be that comfortable betting a fight like this. Like you said, 2 units. I could never bet 2 units on this fight, no matter who I like.
That might be one of the worst things I've ever heard, but it's all right.
Who, me?
No, this comment.
Oh,
Yuri stands there with his chin up and says, "Punch me here," and then like smiles after he.
Yuri's crazy.
There.
He's crazy, man. That's
crazy. What I'm saying. All right, let's get out of here. I don't want to make this look like too long. That we go too long on this.
Yeah,
we'll still talk. Yeah. We'll have to definitely make a side bet on that for sure.
We'll make it with Cashville though. That's my guy.
No, that's what I mean. I'm gonna have to get him. Like, no, I know you want the under, which I definitely agree with.
Exactly.
And that's
all right. Now you got to go back 10 minutes for the recap. We yapped too much. No, you didn't do anything wrong. We love talking.
Oh no. I like this, dude. Like I don't want a boring ass show saying, "Hey, Stu, good job. You did good, bro."
But 90% of the people want the recap, so you got to go back a couple minutes for that. You know, we know most of you guys don't care, but hey, NFL's almost over. You're gonna be seeing more UFC whether you like it or not. We're gonna get you guys on board because I'm on board now. So
yeah,
we'll get that.
Good. Sounds good. Well, we will catch you guys Monday. Just make sure you're following and have the notification bell on. We'll make sure that we can get all that taken care of. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we're coming back Monday with a sweep here for you. Make sure, like I said, tune in to Twitter so we know what time we're going live on Monday, just in case anything changes. But if you hear nothing from us, we're going regular time. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck this weekend. And let's make some money.